You have been so instrumental in helping people better understand the experience of the exploited, how it happens. You've worked with police officers, social workers, those in the justice system. When people are dealing with somebody who has been trafficked or prostituted, what's the most important thing for us to understand?
That this is someone's daughter, sister, mother, friend, niece, granddaughter. This person is a human being.
Yeah. You know, it can happen to anyone, any background, every level of society. And, you know, you yourself experienced a lot of trauma, which I think sets a lot of people onto this lifestyle. You had a violent dad, you were sexually abused by a relative. Can you explain like how those experiences really led you to the streets?
My father was a chronic alcoholic who used to just beat my mother for breakfast, lunch, brunch, and dinner. Myself, I'm the oldest of 3 children. So when all of this is going on, my first thing was to try to shelter my brother and sister from the screams, the blood, just the whole issue there. And if you could tell by my color, I'm biracial. I'm Black, white, Indian, and Puerto Rican. So when I went to school, the African-American kids didn't want to play with me because of the color of my skin. And the very few Caucasians that went to school with me, my hair was blonde, but it wasn't as straight as theirs. So I never fit in. I was always on the outside looking in, always wanted to be a part of, but was not. And I was questioning God. Why did he make me all these different colors? Why he didn't make me just one solid color? Why did he mix me up? My life was always why? Why was my family not like the Partridge Family or the Brady Bunch? Just so many horrible things. And, you know, we went to Sunday school and it was like, well, God protects the little children. Well, at that time in my life, God didn't protect Leslie. So to me, God wasn't, he wasn't real.
And then, of course, the sexual abuse by a relative. How did you end up, you know, going from those situations into being really exploited by your pimp?
Number one, the molestation. He gained my trust only to start molesting me and said, if you ever say anything, your father will kill your mother. Well, I was only 8 when that happened. So an 8-year-old, I believe that. And I had daddy issues, you know, where little girls look up to their dad as daddy's princess, daddy's little girl. Well, that wasn't my story. Not once was I hugged or told I love you. And I didn't bond with my mom because she was too busy working to take care of us. So that left a big gap. That left, like I said, I had daddy issues. I had low self-esteem, no self-worth, the need to be needed issues, wanting to fit in. I mean, I had so many issues that when the pimp came up to me and started talking to me, he honed in on those issues and turned around and became this knight in shining armor who loved me and no one would ever hurt me. You know, I was looking for my dad. And that's how I got caught up in the life.
Yeah, and those pimps know how to find women with vulnerability. They can pick them out of a crowd. They know how to work you. I mean, at the beginning, he was treating you like a princess. I mean, it was amazing. When does it turn dark? Because it always turns dark. So when does it turn dark?
You know, I always tell people, once you get the mind, the body follows. You know, we have all this thing where they tape you up, they tie you up. No. Once they get this, the body follows. So that went on for a while with buying me clothes, taking me to the bars, introducing me, making me feel real comfortable and real safe. That went on for just a couple months. And after that, we went to his friend's house and we were drinking. And when I came to, his friend was on top of me having sex with me any way he wanted to. I looked at the man who said he loved me and no one would ever hurt me. And he looked at me like dirt. He looked like the devil. And everything about him changed. And I'm crying. And he called me the B word and told me to get his money. I was only 15. I was only 15. So my life as I knew it was over.
That is so incredibly heartbreaking when you think of a 15-year-old, still a child really, is who you were. You know, you've written this story in your book, When Angels Fight. How tough is it for you to talk about this?
I had to learn how to forgive those who hurt me in order to set myself free. That was the most hardest thing in my life I've ever had to do. But I know no one can hurt me. And yeah, PTSD, depression, I deal with all of that. But I've learned to not allow it to hold me hostage and affect me in a way that will make me non-productive. And I truly believe that God allowed me to go through everything I went through in order to go back and help others out. And I keep that in the forefront of my mind.
Now you were obviously, like so many people in the life, using drugs in order to deal with the trauma that you were facing every day. But it really did start taking a turn for the worse when you tried crack cocaine. So talk to me a little bit about the direction that went in and what it did to your life.
Once I got away from my pimp, I had been with him like 10, 12 years, something like that. And then I had also had a son by him. And he got locked up and I was able to get away from him, but I still wasn't free. I continued in the life of prostitution because that's all I knew. And it was something about the darkness that was comforting for me. I did drugs so I didn't have to think and feel. You can fight me all day, cut me, do whatever you want. I'll be okay. But if you called me out of my name or told me I was worthless, that was like a shotgun blast to my head. So when I did the drugs, I didn't have to think and I didn't have to feel. That's why I did the drugs. So I have to think and I didn't have to feel. I didn't have to hurt.
Yeah. And I think that's 100% so common. And you know that from the people that you worked with and that you saw in the life. You know, you were spiraling down and down and down, and you could be dead today. I mean, it's really amazing that you survived what you did. But there's this incredible turning point where you're in prison, you wake up, and there's a Bible next to you. Talk to me about that.
So I got locked up, and I go into my cell. There's nothing there. I mean, the only thing that's in that cell is what the guards gave me, my sheets, blankets, and towels. And there's nothing there. I go to sleep. And when I finally wake up, there's a Bible sitting like right there on the table. I mean, it was like literally open my eyes and there, first thing I seen was that Bible. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it and I'm just looking at it. And I'm like, I know I didn't hear nobody come in here. There's no way no guards are going to come in here and leave a Bible. Where did this Bible come from?
Yeah. Okay, so you take the Bible with you for some reason. You've been in prison many times. No Bible had ever shown up. You take it with you. And now when you're taking drugs, something strange is happening. What is going on?
I take my Bible with me. And I was like, I'm not finna smoke no more drugs. I'm not finna do any more drugs. And next thing you know, here comes somebody out of nowhere with some drugs, and we start getting high. But I still had that Bible. But I'm doing these drugs, but I'm not getting high. I'm just going through the motions, but I'm just not getting high. It's not affecting me at all. And that's when I tried to commit suicide.
Yeah. What happened that day?
I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was mentally and emotionally in so much pain and I didn't know what to do. I didn't trust anyone. The only thing I wanted to do was go to sleep, never wake up, because then the pain would be gone. As I'm dying, I knew if you mixed a bunch of drugs up, you would go to sleep and it just would be over. And that's what I tried to do. But I remember as I was dying, my heart is just slowly just pumping. With the last breath that I had, I said, if there's a God in heaven, if you real, help me, man. Just help me. It's hard to explain exactly what I was feeling, but the hug that I never received as a child, I felt inside. And it was like all the drugs, all the pain, everything just came out. And I called my mom, and mind you, they hadn't seen me in years. My family thought I was dead. My mom came and she got me, and she told me it was something about my voice that was totally different. And she took me home, let me bathe, put on some clean clothes and eat, and I went to sleep. And when I woke up, I put myself into a detox.
Yeah, and that is not an easy journey, not just the detoxing, but the whole journey of healing, dealing, you really so bravely faced so much of your inner pain. Talk to me about that journey and why you were able to stick with it.
When I went to detox, Dr. Budnick came out and he was like, well, Leslie, we're going to give you a little Valium, a little lithium, a little this, a little that. And I told him, you're not going to give me anything. And they just looked at me and they put me in a room and they was like, well, Leslie, you could die from withdrawals. And I'm saying to myself, if y'all only knew what I've been through out them streets, I am not worried about death right now. After 3 days, I came out of that room and it looked like somebody had just took me and just dipped me in the ocean somewhere. And I come out. Then I went through a 30-day program. And I mean, God is just showing out. He was just showing out. Many things happened in between all of this time where he was letting me know he was real. I was emptying out this purse, and when I emptied the purse, there was this card from a nun and Sister Francetta. They used to come up and down the division and try to pray for us, but I never mess with them nuns. I'm just like, get away from me, leave me alone. And I don't remember taking no card from her. Matter of fact, I know I did. I didn't mess with them nuns. And I called them because there was a program here called Rosehaven that was ran by the Dominican nuns. And they came and assessed me, and she told me that they didn't have any rooms available. Is there any place I could go until they had room? And I was like, no, because if I go back out in the streets, I'm going to die. I said, but I'm leaving this rehab and I'm coming straight there. And she said, how do you know that? I said, I don't. I just said it. And sure enough, when I left the 30-day treatment center, I went straight to Rosehaven.
You are a strong person. You still to this day probably don't trust people as easily as other people might, and you're not going to be easily led to believe in God or, any of that. But here you are. So for someone watching who's like, I don't know if God's real. I don't know if God loves me. I don't know if I can buy into this. What would you say to them?
There's many things in your life that you do not understand how you got here, how that happened. You didn't get here on your own. There's no way I could have got here on my own. God shows up in every aspect of my life. It's on what you believe. I believed my cousin. I believed my father. I believed the pimp. I believed the dope man. I believed all of that, only to go to a slow descent into hell. Once I start believing in Jesus, doors just start opening. I got hired by the Grand Rapids Police Department, the same people who used to lock me up, as the street outreach worker. There's nothing impossible when it comes to God. And take that from me.